Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today with another episode of a series I'm going to be now calling Normal Difficulty. I have a mental image right now of an animated intro for this series of a hand coming in and turning the difficulty down from like hard or very hard to normal. The idea behind this series is of course taking the difficulties of life, putting them into perspective and making things a lot more manageable. As always, this series is not a substitution for your psychiatrist, your therapist, or whomever you visit, and it's just a friend giving you some advice. This episode's topic I wanted to focus on was smiling through adversity. So when life's hitting you with all these problems, all these random issues are cropping up on you, how do you keep smiling? How do you keep enjoying life? I found myself wanting to do this episode idea because this has been quite an eventful week. I mentioned in my last episode about my puppy and how he might have to go through surgery. On top of that, my dad collapsed in the bathroom and we had to take him to the hospital. That was scary. And then I'm also going through a breakup this week. So yeah, not the best week for you, boy. It's alright though. Cause all of a sudden I noticed I was smiling without trouble. Usually when I'm going through a lot of those types of issues and then I smile, my brain tells me like, are you really happy right now? Cause think of all that's going on. But I started really thinking about it. I'm like, if I just start putting my problems all into perspective, it becomes so much more manageable. So with the dog, there's been a bit of an update. He got some blood tests done and there wasn't a high calcium level, which is what they were looking for. And basically that means that it may not be cancer that he has, which is great to hear, of course. So the only thing I really have to worry about is him going into surgery. Fortunately, my dad's all right. And breakups happen. It's not a big deal. Dating around my age in the 20s, that's kind of the time you experiment and you see what works and what doesn't. Still, I'm not gonna sit here and act like those aren't problems and I didn't have the life scared out of me for 2 of them. But once I put them into perspective, started managing them, giving them the attention that they deserve, because often when a problem pops up in our life, we just try to push it to the side and get it out of the way as soon as possible. But when you give it the proper attention, you focus on it for a little bit, see what you can do about it, and then move on, all of a sudden, it's not a big deal when you smile when there's problems still happening. So I've continued reading Flow, and one thing this book constantly emphasizes is controlling the optimal experience. That's what it's all about. Always finding that moment of happiness and being able to control it through an order in your consciousness, how you interpret bits of information, what you think of first. And what flow means is that's the idea of the happiness they're talking about, which is when you're fully absorbed in your surroundings, you're kind of going through a life day to day without thinking of anything else except being fully immersed in your surroundings, and thus happiness happens in those moments. What I've tried to do during some of these trying times is giving anything I'm doing 110% of my mental attention, not trying to split it up like 10% here, 20% here, then the rest goes here. So when I'm playing a game, it's got all my attention. When I'm looking at my phone, I'm choosing to do that and give it all my attention. When I'm reading a book, it's getting all my attention. When I go on a run, I'm focusing on that run. When I'm working out, I want to get that workout done. I want to push out as many as I can and have my mind fully into it. I personally think that comes hand in hand with smiling through adversity. When you're able to give your attention to something else, it's a lot easier to smile instead of always having that problem sitting in the back of your head. I also think being able to smile during your problems is often a choice, right? Because as you heard, I went through a couple of serious things this week and I still managed to pick out a positive side of everything. Now, I'm not saying be blindly optimistic. I think that's unrealistic to some extent, but at least try to look at some of the positives, the silver linings. Like I said, we'll take the breakup, for example. I think that's the best example of something that you can take a silver lining out of the 3 situations I brought up for myself. And at least I can say, okay, this one didn't work out. Let's see what happens next. Whenever that comes up, I'm not gonna force anything and we're just gonna move on. Part of what I feel is being able to put a smile on during those problems, enjoying the moment around you, is by choosing to do what you want in those moments in a smart fashion. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a set of plans to go hang out with some friends, but you're not really feeling it after a certain event crops up and you're just suddenly not as invested in those plans. Feel free to back out. Do what you want. Let's say all of a sudden your book you're reading becomes 1,000,000 times more appealing because it's some time just to spend in a different universe and enjoy your free time. Then do that. But if you feel like, you know what, I really do want to go out with my friends, I think this will be good for me, it'll get me out of the house, get me thinking about other things and interacting with people, then do that as well. You have to know what you like. You have to be a part of the solution with all these problems, and that's how smiling through problems happens. I also want to make it clear, I'm not suggesting a way of life where you're smiling no matter what the hell happens. I'm just saying that when a problem pops up, in between the beginning of that problem and the end of that problem, you can smile in the middle of that and find things to be happy about regardless of your situation. So always keep your chin up and look for those moments to smile. And that'll conclude this episode of Normal Difficulty. I hope you guys enjoyed enjoyed. A lot of you seem to really enjoy the first episode, and I'm happy to say that was my best performing video of the week, so that made me really happy to see, and I'm really looking forward to doing more of these. So be sure to fire away with your stories in the comments down below, how you're smiling through adversity. That's a big part of this series, is the huge comment interactions we're having. I can't wait to see what you all have to say down below, and thank you for constantly contributing to the channel and making these types of series possible. So I'll catch you guys next time. Stay sexy, stay active, I love you all. Peace.